Hi there, this is Alexei Lubomansky, and we are going to start a new series on TikTok called Reshoot, where I revisit some of my old shoots and give you the story behind them. So this is obviously Angelina Jolie. We shot this for Harper's Bazaar US back in 2017. Harper's Bazaar US, Glenda Bailey was the editor-in-chief at the time, and she asked me to fly to Namibia, where Angelina Jolie was staying in this sort of very exclusive, like tiny campsite, basically, in the middle of the Namib Desert. And there was nothing out there, super desolate. So we flew from New York to Johannesburg in South Africa, and then we got onto this tiny plane. And there was a very small team. It was only me and two guys, and the hair and makeup, obviously, were already with Angelina on the campsite. And as we were flying over the Namib Desert, you're flying over the Namib Desert for like 3 hours, and there's nothing. It's just like sand dunes and just dust and a few rocks here and there. It's kind of, we just kept saying to each other, it looks like Mars, is what we imagine Mars to be like. And occasionally you look down and you'd see one guy with a horse walking, and you'd look around through the window at the farthest distance and you think, where the hell is this guy going? Because there's nothing around. So it was kind of a very surreal landscape. Now, as always, with any shoot, we were given some ref what they wanted. We were asked to get some wildlife, so there were supposed to be some cheetahs around there, and some warthogs, and some lynxes, and there were references like this, a little bit of this, some of this, a whole lot of this, and this kind of vibe. They wanted to feel a sort of like a Saharan safari. Try a Sahari maybe, and references like this. I mean, Lauren Hutton is a go-to for this kind of shoot idea, and then a couple of references like this of Varushka, and some of this. Now, we were also told that because there were these large sand dunes close by, that Angelina had said that we were going to be able to photograph her kids sandboarding in the background of these images, which would have been really cool. But when we got there, we found out that the kids had actually left 2 days before, so that was cancelled. So we were told we were going to get 2 days to shoot this cover shoot. And when we arrived, we found there was a BBC team there as well, filming her for something. And we were told subsequently that instead of having 2 days shoot, we were going to have a half a day shoot, which is kind of normal for these things. You have to roll with the punches. Every now and then you get thrown a curveball like this. So we got straight away setting up, and as we were setting up there was a baby hyena running around, which is kind of cute. This is me and my team. This is Max, my lighting guy in the middle, and Eduardo. And we just got everything ready super quickly so that as soon as Angelina was ready, we would just get to utilize every minute possible because we only had half a day. There was also some warthogs around the place. So we started off with this shot. We wanted to get the light right. We wanted to make sure there was, we didn't want to start off with one of the more complicated ones with the cheetahs and the animals. So we just said, let's just check hair and makeup, check the lighting's right, check that Angelina was happy with everything. So we just got a nice, beautiful shot, a nice beauty shot, which she loved, she approved. She was like, great, now we can carry on. And that's when it sort of started rolling. So the first thing we did is we saw this lynx was walking around. Now, we are told that we're not allowed to touch the animals or feed the animals or interact with them. If they want to interact with us, that's great, but it can't go the other way around. So Angelina started walking towards it and then just sort of meandering around. And gradually this lynx started sort of trotting along next to her. And so I just trotted along next to both of them and just got these images. And as I said, you look at the landscape, it's completely barren, but super, super cool. Then, as we were finishing this shot, one of the guys from the camp said that they had seen on the horizon these 3 cheetahs. Now, these 3 cheetahs were 3 brothers who had been orphaned and rescued by the camp many years ago, and they would just wander off into the desert, but then every now and then they'd come back, and they were very comfortable around human beings. And so this guy said, listen, if you want to get the cheetah shots, you can't wait around for them. They're not going to wait for you. You've got to get your shot set up and get ready because you've got to catch it. So this is what we did. We set up this tea party, this sort of tea set, and Angelina just sat down. The cheetahs come towards anything that they see that is action, right? Because there's nothing around. So if they see a bunch of humans or a bunch of stuff going on, they're going to come and check it out. So they would come along and Angelina would just pour herself a cup of tea And the cheetahs just meandered around, sniffed the table, sniffed her feet. And then one of the cheetahs got up onto the table and started munching on the strawberries. And it was so cool. And everybody was just completely silent and still. And again, because you can't interact, these are wild animals, the guys kept saying. So every now and then the cheetahs would go over and sniff my guy holding the light or the shade. And we just took pictures. I took as many pictures as possible. We then followed the cheetahs because, again, you can't decide where the cheetahs are going to go. And they were going towards this dead, petrified tree which had been struck by lightning. And so I told Angelina, go over there, change her outfit. And they were sort of meandering around there and sleeping around there. So when she got over there, the cheetahs got up. They started walking around to check what the commotion was. And again, beautiful shot, love the tree. And then we walked out we got changed, or rather Angelina got changed. I didn't change because I'm fine. Angelina walked out into this barren, I mean, look at that beautiful, epic, biblical landscape. It just went on for miles. It was just so quiet. It was incredible. And again, they followed her. And I think because Angelina was there when they were rescued, so there was a long relationship with Angelina and the cheetahs. And they just started walking around, and now, once we saw this, whoever I was with from the magazine suddenly said, this would make a great cover. So can we just get the hair right and everything? Now, as soon as you say the word cover on a shoot, everybody gets a little bit like, cover. Because it's like, oh, do we have to make this perfect? Which usually kills the vibe. So sometimes I don't say cover. I just think to myself, this is going to be a good cover. So we got it all ready. The cheetahs were walking around. So I started zooming in and getting everything right. And this is what it ended up as. Now, it was really, really cool because the cheetahs, they kept looking at me and, but the only problem was the cheetahs were perfect, but Angelina, the hair was blowing across her face. And so I was just like frantically trying to say to the hairstylist, can you just jump in and put the hair behind again? And as I was looking at Angelina through the lens and trying to catch the perfect moment, I didn't see that one of the cheetahs had disappeared and there was only two cheetahs, but I thought, whatever, two cheetahs is fine. And all of a sudden, I felt something on my left thigh, and I looked down very carefully, and there was a cheetah sniffing my thigh, on my jeans, and licking my thigh. And it was like sandpaper. It was like this rough tongue on my leg. And I thought, shit, is this gonna get gnarly? Is it gonna be some sort of like a little snack happening? But then, of course, as my eyes flicked up to Angelina, suddenly the wind had changed and the wind was perfect. It was blowing it around her neck and it was just gently coming across at the back. And so I thought, well, I've got two legs so I can afford to lose one, but I've got to get this picture because photographers are idiots like that. So I ended up taking the pictures and the cheetah actually ended up going back towards her and circling around her and I got this picture. So it ended up being pretty cool. And at that point, everybody was super happy. And I was like, Angelina was walking around happy because, everybody was elated because of this cheetahs being around here. And so I said, listen, you look gorgeous. The light's beautiful. You're smiling. Everything's wonderful. So let's just take some beautiful close-ups. And so we got this. And I think you'll agree. She looks pretty cool. And then after the shoot, I was walking around while my team packed up everything. And then the cheetah started walking around close to me. So I thought, I'll try a little, sort of walking in tandem with the cheetah. And it didn't do anything wrong, so I just carried on walking, and you got to get a picture with the cheetah. And as you can see, we kind of made friends, and we went for a walk, a stroll together. That night, we were celebrating. This was about 6 months before I gave up drinking, and so there was a couple of wines being taken sips of, and it was so incredible. The sky was just black, and apart from these beautiful stars everywhere, and there was no light pollution, so we ended up going out into the wilderness and doing these long exposures with somebody lighting me with a phone light and taking these pictures of the Milky Way. I mean, it was incredible. And then the next morning at dawn, we got back on our plane, said goodbye to Namibia, and we were back in New York, and the story came out probably like 3 or 4 months, 6 months later. And that's the Angelina story for Harper's Bazaar.